Have you ever just clicked on a movie and it works across any streaming service? Well, there's a hidden system that saved the entire media industry from total, absolute chaos, and we're going to break it down. Okay, first, just imagine this. You walk into a giant library looking for the movie Titanic, but none of the cases have names on them. It's just a sea of random sticky notes. One says Big Ship Movie, another says Item _ number 123, and a third just says Leo and Kate.
Total nightmare, right? You'd never find anything? Well, believe it or not, that is exactly what the world of digital streaming looked like just a few years ago. A chaotic mess that was costing companies millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, there's actually a name for it. The Digital Babel Crisis. It's a throwback to that old story where everyone suddenly started speaking a different language and couldn't understand each other. And honestly, it's the perfect way to describe what was happening with our movies and TV shows.
Here's the deal. A single movie, like, say, Avengers Endgame, isn't just one file anymore. It explodes into literally thousands of different digital pieces. You've got the 4K version, the edited for airplanes version, the Spanish dub, the director's cut, all the trailers, the behind-the-scenes clips. Every single one needs to be tracked.
And this digital explosion had huge real-world consequences. We're talking about something called revenue leakage, which is just a fancy way of saying money was vanishing into thin air because ads couldn't be tracked properly. Creators weren't getting paid the right amounts, and studios had people spending thousands of hours just staring at massive Excel spreadsheets trying to connect the dots. It was an absolute mess.
But then, out of all that digital chaos, this beautifully simple, totally elegant solution appeared. It was basically a universal barcode for every single piece of video content on Earth. It's called EIDR. That stands for the Entertainment Identifier Registry. And you can think of it like a unique digital fingerprint for every movie, every TV show, every clip. One ID, permanent, universal. It's the thing that brought order to the chaos.
And the idea behind it is so simple, it's brilliant. You know that ISBN number on the back of any book? EIDR is that, but for digital video. It's a language that any computer system anywhere in the world can understand instantly. And that one simple idea changed everything. The industry went from chaos and mind-numbing manual work to fully automated systems. And, you guessed it, precise revenue. It was a complete game changer, not just for the big streaming platforms, but for everyone.
So, how does this magic barcode actually work? I mean, how can one system really handle all of that crazy complexity we were talking about? All right, let's get into the secret sauce.
Okay, it all comes down to this really clever 3-level system. So at the very top, you have the abstraction, which is basically just the idea of the movie. Think Avengers Endgame. Then, one step down, you have the performance, or the version. Is it the director's cut or the one you saw in theaters? Each of those gets its own ID. And then at the bottom, you have the manifestation, which is the file itself. Is it the 4K version with the French dub? That gets its own specific ID too.
See? This layered structure is what makes it so powerful. It gives computers perfect, super detailed clarity. It's the difference between a computer system going, oh yeah, that movie, versus knowing exactly which creative version and which specific technical format it's supposed to be dealing with.
All right, so that's the tech. Now let's talk about the real-world results, because this simple system unlocks some pretty incredible superpowers for the whole industry.
Get this. Before EIDR, Google said it could take them up to 50 hours just to process rights information from studios. 50 hours! After they brought in EIDR, they got that time down to just 10 minutes. That's not just better, that's a flat-out revolution. And the hits just keep on coming. For advertisers, it means knowing if you saw the same ad on your phone and your TV. For the beautiful chaos of live sports, it's a lifesaver, instantly managing stuff like rain delays. And, this is a big one, it automates royalties, making sure the actual creators get paid correctly for their work. Everybody wins.
So here's how it deals with something as tricky as live sports. EIDR is smart enough to create one ID for the event itself, like the Super Bowl, and a separate ID for the specific broadcast you're watching, whether that's on ESPN or a 4K stream on JioCinema in India. So if the game gets blacked out in your region, the system just switches the feed instantly. You don't even notice. It's brilliant.
So this ability to manage insane complexity is so important. And it's being put to the ultimate test right now in one of the fastest growing, most exciting streaming markets on the entire planet, India.
So in India, you have these things called super aggregators, which bundle like 20+ streaming apps all into one place. Sounds awesome, right? But it can be a nightmare for the user. Say you search for a popular movie title like Vikram. Well, you'll get results for 2 totally different hit movies with the same name scattered across a dozen different apps. It's just confusing.
And this is where EIDR becomes the hero of the story. It's that silent engine humming in the background, cutting through all of that noise. It makes sure that when you search for Vikram, the system knows exactly which film you mean and can find it for you, no matter which of those 20 apps it's living on.
And this isn't some top-down thing being forced on people. Local tech partners in India are leading the charge. I mean, check this out. An Indian company called Cube Cinema actually registered the 2 millionth EIDR ID in history for the amazing Bollywood film Gully Boy. How cool is that? It's proof that this thing is truly global.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's really simple, but it's also incredibly profound. In a world that is drowning, absolutely drowning in data, identity is the new currency. Clarity is everything.
You see, this whole thing isn't just about cool tech. It's about how one powerful, simple idea can bring order to complete chaos. By giving every story its own unique name, we're not just organizing files, we're preserving culture. So the real question for us is, what other parts of our digital lives are screaming out for this kind of clarity? And how do we use this thinking to make sure that no great story, no matter how big or small, ever gets lost in the noise?